We're already recording.
Oh, we are. I forgot. We just talked about that.
Close your eyes. I have a surprise for you.
Oh, gosh. Does it include any...
I'll have to touch you.
Oh, God, no. Please don't.
Kind of. No, yet. Sit up. You have to, you can't curl up.
I'm so scared.
Oh, it's something that
I'm afraid.
It will make our viewers appreciate this video.
I don't want to be
more.
A part of those kind of videos.
It'll make it will enhance the video for our viewers.
Should I take my glasses off?
No, you can leave them on. You ready?
Are you going to touch me?
Not really. All right. Here, I made it more pretty.
I can still see you.
They
you
can't
really
see
just
you.
put a paper bag on my face?
Well, I just wanted to beautify it a bit. That makes me laugh.
I like that you cut out mouth and eye holes.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I didn't want you to be completely,
So I'm not wearing it for the video, I guess? My new
No.
face?
It was just for my pure enjoyment. I said they're watching one of my videos and that stuck into my head. I'm like, I have to now do this.
He's called me ugly. He's called me a zombie. He's now put a brown paper bag over my face.
There's a trend.
Apparently there is.
Toph's face is trending.
Brad is sick of looking at my face.
Your face is trending.
Thanks. Thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah, you should be apologizing to them.
Yeah. I just do stupid shit. Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Today,
We had a great suggestion from one of you.
we did. And it needs to be, Brad needs to stop cutting me off.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I cut you off just as much as you cut me
Yeah,
off.
this does happen. It's true. And
It's true.
I'm using your tagline.
We are not pros. So today we got a great suggestion from you. So Brad put a poll up or at least a post up in YouTube asking what it is that you guys are interested in us talking about. And so we've taken note of them. There are some great suggestions.
Yeah,
and
we're going to
things
try to make little videos out of them.
Yeah, I'm excited for them. I don't know, I want to call it a series, but some pretty cool little comments. So the one that I, at least, and I think you kind of latched onto in the beginning. No, I really did. Was talking about board game expansions.
Yep.
And so we
are
just
they
thought,
essential?
well, yeah, are they
When
essential?
you kind of you had a good point why you wanted to talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what immediately popped in my mind was there's going to be a little bit of contrast between you and I, between what I like when it comes to board games and what you like when it comes to board games in terms of our collection and what we need to be playing.
So top line is I think board game expansions are a money grab and not worth it. In general, I would say 9 times out of 10, I think it's not worth getting the expansion.
And I disagree with that.
Yeah. So you at least will enjoy the video.
Yeah.
Now I have some things that point out to me that it's like, nope, that's not true either. But I honestly, that's where I come from. So if you identify with that, you may be more interested in what I'm going to say and why. And if you disagree with that statement, you're probably going to enjoy Toph's part of this conversation more.
Yeah. Yeah, I am not a person that says every game needs an expansion.
Right.
I don't think every expansion needs to be bought by every player. But I do think that expansions play a very important part in the board gaming experience.
Oh, it can. It
Depends
can.
on the game, depends on the
I
expansion.
just think most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
So I'd rather go buy a new board game, try that out, than the expansion.
Yeah.
To try to fix or make a game better.
I think for me, a little bit of board game expansion is the fear of the unknown versus comfort. And I am very much not somebody that wants a lot of change. So I tend to...
Really?
Yeah. Shocking.
I find that very hard to believe.
Shocking.
He doesn't like change.
Yeah, I don't. So
Shocking.
for me, it's you find a game, you enjoy a game, you know that expansion is probably by the same designer, probably by the same artist, and it's probably going to make the experience that you're playing with a game you already enjoy even better. And so that's where I think expansions shine.
How long's the guy that's been cutting your hair?
For quite a while.
How many years? How many decades?
Oh, not that many decades. No.
More than
we
one.
actually just talked about this when he cut my hair, and it's been somewhere in the 5 to 7 year rate. I think it's been 5 years.
I guess that's not a good example.
No, probably not.
I thought it was longer than that.
No.
The way you made it sound, it was like, I can't leave him.
So
it's like, why not?
Yeah. So one of my good friends cuts my hair, and he had a shop in the town I live in, and he moved to the next town over, which is also not the town you live. And so I was saying, wow, it's so hard to get there by 5 p.m. when I work till 5 p.m. So anyways, that's an aside.
Yeah,
welcome to
we went off to
ADD.
Tangent.
But anyways, we're talking about board games. Thanks for changing. So this idea of, games that you really enjoy, getting those games maybe to the table more frequently is something that I really enjoy. I think, like, for example, my favorite games, some of my absolute favorite games, Terraforming Mars. I have now all of the expansions of Terraforming Mars. I love that experience of that game so much that is going to be Brad's.
I'm trying to do it on the computer. Keep talking.
Okay. That's a game that I want to continue to bring to the table, but it's also a game that I don't want to become just stale with one way of playing. And this is actually probably a great example of why I like expansions. So Terraforming Mars has very few mechanics to it. So it's a very complex game in how you've got a ton of cards that are coming out, and you've got to be able to shift your frame. This is where Brad's not as good at Terraforming Mars because he's a long-term strategist when it comes to board game play.
And it's a horrible game.
And it is, for me, I'm a tactical player. I like the idea of having a strategy, but then being able to pivot in a moment's notice. So with Terraforming Mars, you've got a lot of cards, and those cards are going to keep coming out, but you've got to play through them. But what you are doing is the same. You're drafting cards, you're adding them into your tableau, and then you're building an engine. And that is every single game in Terraforming Mars. The expansion starts to bring more things into it. It starts to give variety to it. I don't always have to play with them. Maybe I do. I can pick and choose who I'm playing with. Can make it more complex if I want more complexity. It can make it a little bit less complex if I take some of them away. So for me, that was a no-brainer.
Or you could buy Arc Nova and have a better game.
Gosh. Sorry, Tom. That game is not anywhere near as good as Terraforming Mars.
I'm saying it's better.
No, not in any way, shape, or form.
And it was a different game. It's not an expansion.
It's not an expansion.
Didn't need an expansion to make it better.
No.
It was good out of the box.
No. It was okay. It was okay. But we're not talking about that.
We're talking about expansions versus non-expansions.
And that is a completely different game.
My point.
It's not an expansion.
That is exactly my point.
Yeah,
Go buy another game instead of buying the expansions.
To the hype. No,
that is
not at all.
Exactly the point.
No.
He has made my point. This is the whole argument we're going to have.
Apparently.
He wants to buy expansions for Terraforming Mars. I say go buy Arc Nova.
Arc Nova was an okay game, but it was not an expansion.
I
bought it on the hype.
I am on the non-expansion side of the thing.
And there are times when I do want to. I've actually thought about this with some of them. Like, for example, Terraforming Mars, the last expansion, is one that I don't think I'm going to play a lot of. And it's Turmoil, so it's the government track, and they're
coming out with a Prelude too.
They are. I saw that. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that one. I might be back in that one. I'm not a Kickstarter. Prelude is an essential expansion, by the way. If you get Terraforming Mars, you need Prelude. But no, that was one expansion that I don't think I'm going to play a lot. If I'm going to play it, I know I'm not going to play it with certain friends because they're not going to enjoy it at all. Part of it is the completion. Yeah, you being one of them, Sierra being one of them. Part of it's the completionist in me. It was the last expansion that I had to buy for it, so it's might as well go ahead and complete the collection. But I see that more so for myself solo than not. But I do think that's changing the game completely for me. Like, the entire gameplay is going to be different with that one. So I do think they add. Catan is a great example of this as well. I've played a lot of Settlers of Catan. I got 20 years ago, almost 21 years ago, I started playing Settlers for the first time. Fell in love with it, but that was back when I played mainly mass market games, non-hobby games. Fantastic. And then I got sick of it. And then I got Seafarers. Not a great expansion. And then eventually found Cities and Knights. Essential. Absolutely an amazing expansion. That's where I learned expansions are fantastic for board games. Because it took a great game and it made it so much better.
So, we'll talk about expansions. Let's see. I think Root's a great game by itself. Everybody's going to hate me for this. Expansions in Root, you don't need them. I don't think you need them. I don't think it's a need. Like, this is my point with my side of it is they're nice. My general overview is going to be if it's not a 8, 9, or 10, you shouldn't be getting the expansion because I don't think it's going to fix the game that you don't like inherently. And I think everybody gets sucked into the hype. Got Root. Got Dark Tower. Got Rails to the North. Got this crappy game.
You didn't even put right side up.
It's because it doesn't deserve to be right side up. With that expansion, which was essential and made it great. This is the only... And I love this game.
Thanks. Thanks, friend.
Let me get that.
While he's pulling that up, Barrage. Fantastic.
My 9. My 10. This was designed with the original game, not as an expansion. And then it was made the game too big, so they decided to pare it down to make it more streamlined to play. And then they brought it out as an expansion. So it wasn't a bolt-on. That's my other issue with the games is they weren't designed with the expansion. They're not play-tested enough. They're not balanced enough. And so they end up being garbage most of the time. And they're a cash grab.
I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. So. And let's break down some expansion types because some expansions are add-ons to a game, like Rails to the North adds on to Great Western Trail. Not an essential add-on, by the way. I don't agree with that. No, it was fun, but I'd rather play without it. You've got expansions that are, as some say, the second half of the game. Like they design a game and then they take part of it away and then they sell it as an expansion. That kind of bothers me sometimes. Like, put it all together, let me pay a little bit more up front for the initial game if it's the entire game. Well,
but I would say in Barrage's case, it was probably like they didn't know if people were going to like it and it was already hard enough.
Yeah. But so, if you've got a variation without it, you can say, here's a introduction to the game and then here's the complete game.
Yeah, but it probably cost too much. I'd rather know that they were like trying to stream. Well, most of the time they get so bloated and everything, you can't. It's like, why didn't you streamline this?
Yeah.
And at least they made the hard choices to streamline it and then went like, oh, people actually do like it. They're seeing the beauty of this.
Yeah.
Here it is. The 5th player expansion, which I have, I think is probably horrible. I don't think I want to play Barrage at 5. I'm going to just to force myself to do it, but I don't think I want to.
Yeah, I just don't market it as this is the second half of the game.
They didn't. It's just they did not.
Okay.
But the designers have said that they designed the game with that. They didn't market it as that. I just happen to know that through other people that really like the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
They call it the Lay Water expansion. Call it hey, here's the rest of the game.
Here's the rest of the game. Yeah, I think it really comes down to what the game is. And then the other side of that, so then the third category would be like campaign games or scenario-based games. Those expansions are different.
But it's almost a standalone game. Well, it can be, I guess.
You need the base. So, like, classic example, Arkham Horror, all of the Arkham Horrors. So, the base, like, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, all the expansions, Eldritch Horror, all the expansions, Living Card Game,
and I guess you could consider Marvel Champions expansions, but they're... Yeah. I almost don't know if I guess I'm thinking board games. I almost don't count those.
But those are expansions. And they are, like, for you, Marvel Champions, those are essential.
Oh, wow, I've spent a ton of money on that.
Well, but not just because you spent money on it, but you play them all, or at least most of them.
Yeah, I haven't. I will play them all, but I haven't gotten through all of them yet.
Yeah,
90% of them.
But same for like Arkham Horror. Like base game, Arkham Horror, the living card game is not that great. But when you get into Dunwich, all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And then you get into Path to Carcosa or one of the other ones. It's like, oh, okay, these are like, this is it. This makes sense. You know, what is going on? It's adding to a story. So story-driven games are going to be very different expansion-wise because you're always going to see needing more to complete the story.
Well, and they've made those games to be like crack cocaine. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's the next one. Mm-hmm. Here's the next thing. Here's the next one.
They have. So. But you would never buy Marvel Champions with all of the expansions in one box.
Oh, no.
So you kind of need that with some of those games. Yeah.
And if you find out you do or don't like the base game, then you don't care about any of the rest of it.
Yeah. So. But yeah, that's another thing is if you don't like a game and you gave it kind of, if you said 8, 9, or 10, then the expansion might be worth it. Otherwise, don't worry about it. There are some games that I have that are rated lower than that I have expansions for because I do play the games with certain people. Even though I may not enjoy the game that much, it's at least adding a little bit more into the game when I play it with people.
Well, and then there's the expansions that supposedly fix a game.
Yeah.
A la Feast for Odin.
Which I love Feast for Odin by itself. I've not played the expansion yet, but I love it by itself.
Well, it's the same game. It just groups things together. Mm-hmm. So it makes the weak areas more, but that's fixing the game. Right. So,
yeah.
I still think you have to like the game as is before you're ever going to like the expansion. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to change your opinion of the game.
Well, it may make the game a little bit better for you. So for example sake, Scythe. Absolutely love Scythe.
Scythe's fine as is.
It is. I'm not as big on Invaders from Afar. I mean, it's an okay expansion. It adds 2 new factions into it. That's fine. It does add some different complexity with them because they operate different than the base factions did, but that was just it. The airships, same idea. They're okay. They're good, but I don't feel like they enhance the game enough. Now, the ending conditions for that expansion is really good, so I do really enjoy that part of it. And then there's probably one of the best expansions that's ever been made, which is Rise of Fenris.
But that's a campaign.
It is a campaign, but it unlocks so many things about that game that it makes me like even just the base game of Scythe even better without the expansions.
Right, but you have a story, and it's that's.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it really
but it didn't make but you don't need if you like Scythe, you don't need it.
You don't.
It's a neat story, and it's going to help bring you into this.
But if you enjoy Scythe, I think it will make Scythe a better game for you. Like it has improved the rating that I have for Scythe because it's given more backstory. It adds to the enhancement.
You're getting more ingrained into it. But what's Scythe out of it? 1 to 10?
Oh, it's up there.
Like what?
It's
a 9 or a 10?
It's a 9.5.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm still going back to it's a 9, 8, 9, or 10. Alex loves Lost Ruins of Arnak. He has the expansions. We need to play them. I'm not going to go buy them. I don't like Arnak enough, and I'm not willing to try it. I think it's a 6, 7. I'll play it if I'm in the mood. But way more games I'd rather play.
Yeah.
If the Leaders to the North completely blow my mind, I don't think it's going to. But, I want Alex to sit down and teach us and play the game.
Yep.
He really loves that game.
I think it also is based on what that expansion does for the game itself. Like, I know you don't like the game, but the...
I think the game's okay.
What's the name of it?
Which one are you talking about? Age of Sigmar? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the Civilization game. Wow, my mind is shot, y'all.
The CGE. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. A New Story of Civilization.
Yeah.
But that's not the name of the game. But anyways, good game. I enjoy the game. I rated it an 8. The expansion does not add to it enough, in my opinion, and I don't play it enough. I'm never going to play it enough. That's not a game that I even want to play on a regular basis. I do want to play it a lot more than I'm playing it, but the expansion doesn't add enough into it for me to really be interested in it. So that's a highly rated game. So I think, what is the expansion? I think that's a big part of it too. Like for you you showed it, Return to Dark Tower. I don't think some of those expansions are enough that I would want to buy them. Like, minis are cool. I love minis. I don't think that game needs the minis.
Well, but that expansion isn't necessarily about the minis.
Okay.
I would say that expansion is actually interesting. It makes it more gamer.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because it makes this puzzle harder.
Okay.
So, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's essential. I'm just not. I don't think you're missing out by not having it. You're either going to like Dark Tower as is, and as is, it's not as crunchy, but it's still not just a walk in the park.
Yeah.
Because you have to be cooperative. And if you don't play cooperatively, you will fail. It's one of those games that's if you play cooperatively, then it can be very easy.
Yeah.
And then that expansion brings in, and I like the expansion, and the only reason I have it is because I bought All In. But I did not buy the Kickstarter second expansion.
Okay.
Like, I am coming to the realization that I don't necessarily need All In. Base game should be good enough. Not that I don't want to deluxify it now. That's different. But I still want to deluxify something that I think is going to be a good game, or I hope is going to be. I did that with Beast, and you're still going to be disappointed more times than you're not. And I think that's my thing with expansions. I'm disappointed more times with the expansion than not. I think
the one thing, and this is the difference between I think you and me, and maybe is swaying some of our mind. I don't kickstart things. I'm typically never going to buy a base game and an expansion at the same time. I'm going to buy a base game, and then I may buy an expansion to it. And I think that is something that maybe is a little bit different because, like, for example, with Beast, with Return to Dark Tower, these are Kickstarters that you are doing, and you are buying a lot of things all at one time without having played the game.
Yeah, you get sucked into the market, and you get
and that's part of the reason why I don't kickstart things, because I don't
get that dopamine rush.
I would rather have that from playing a game, finding out I like it, and then going to get an expansion later if I've played it enough that I want that change. And so that is a big difference. And that's, I think, maybe swaying some of the difference between you and I, is that I've not done those all-ins with all the expansions at one time, not knowing that I already like that game.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. Like, you're trying to find somebody that you like and trust when you're watching these videos, and they got to play the game before you did, and do you think it's interesting? I think that's where me and you guys have said it, right? We have differences of opinions, and you guys like that, right? And it's rare. I mean, that's not rare, but we do like some of the same games. But
there's some that we don't.
And even in this conversation, like, I'm not going to sit here and I won't tell you Laywater's essential. Like, it's not. I love Barrage. It's, I am only going to play it with that from now on. It's not. It doesn't do that much, but it's nice that it's there and you have a couple extra things, and I like the extra people and some of the lieutenants or whatever they call them, clerks, with the expansion. But it's not essential. The essential part of Barrage is like using the advanced technology part of the board in Barrage versus just the basic part of the Barrage, So, I just don't think they're as essential as everybody makes it out. I like viticulture.
We haven't played the expansion yet.
I know, but I like it as it is. Like, I like the game.
Yeah.
I don't need, I'll go, for me, it's like, but now I say that, and Great Western Trail, Argentina, is its own game. Is that an expansion?
That's not an expansion.
It's not an expansion. That's my point. That I want. Like, he bought it, right? Game. We have it, but that's different. So.
Yeah. I think also, and this is going to be maybe different for you guys, we also are getting sucked into the content creation side of it, and that means different games, not expansions to the same games for the most part. We're probably not going to come on here and review a base game and then the expansion, then the expansion, then the expansion. And we haven't had quite as much. I haven't bought as many expansions over the last year because we've been playing a lot of new games.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here telling you, you see the big box of Everdale back there, right? I bought that for my significant other.
I was going to say, that's also not you, but your wife.
But I bought that for her to make her happy, right? Not that you can actually make anybody happy doing anything. To be happy in and of yourself. But I wanted her to be like, that game. And we enjoy playing it, and it makes but I'll still go back to it's 8, 9, or 10. It's one of her 9s or 10s. And it's an 8, 9, or 10 for me. I'm still not sure exactly where yet, but I like that game. So I'm still going to fall back on expansions are not essential. You don't need an expansion. But if you want to get an expansion, think about it in terms of just flat out money. It better be in that 8, 9, or 10 range for you, because I don't think it's going to make a 6 better or a 7 better. A 6 might go to a 7, which still isn't worth the extra money. Just go find another new game. Or there's tons of great other games, Steffenfeld, Alexander Pfister, all kinds of games out there by known designers that are well tested. Go try those for the same amount of money as the expansion they're trying to sell you right now.
Yeah. And I think, if you have a game you play with your family all the time or friends all the time, maybe that's definitely, I don't know. This is for me. I don't have the money to go out and just buy any game that I want to. I don't think you do. Like some people do. That would be fantastic. But
can you really say those words out loud?
Yeah. I can.
How many games did you buy this month?
This month, not that many.
More than 0.
Yeah. That's okay. I also got rid of a couple games.
We are not your role models as far as board gaming buying goes.
Well, and some of it though is also for channel sake, to be able to play games that we want to play anyways.
But we're still buying. Yeah, it's a nice excuse.
But anyways, if it's a game that you really enjoy, you don't have that fear of buying Aquatica that you really did not like. You are expanding onto a game that you already like. Yeah.
8, 9, or 10. That's going to still be my go-to.
I have burned myself many a times buying games thinking, instead of an expansion, because I've had that conversation, I can get this, or I could spend this much and get a whole nother game. Oh, let me get the other game. And then it turns out to be a game that's a 4, 5, 6. And I just did not enjoy it, even though it's by maybe a designer I like, or, something like that. So, I mean, there's games I've done that on. I have somewhere here still from our games that are not meeting the reviews. The Silver series.
Yeah,
there was a lot of hype on that. There were quite a few reviewers that I appreciate and that I have similar interest in board games with. Watch the videos all the time. It was a hit for them. It was absolutely not a hit for me. And that is just that example of I'd rather put money into games that I know are getting to the table.
Yep.
So that's our reviews. That's our thoughts.
But always looking for the new one. So I like to go out and try to find new things.
I do that too.
No, he does, but I do think there's a difference for that. I think you said at the beginning you like a known entity.
Yeah.
But I think we both agree on. For me, the known entity is an 8, 9, or 10 on your rating.
Yeah, and I probably agree with that. So with the caveat, if it's a game, like there are games that you play all the time with families or friends possibly that are not rated that high. So for example, and I haven't played this game in years, but I have it on my list there, Exploding Kittens. That is not rated very high for me, but we played the you-know-what out of that game.
Oh, my son loved that when he was younger.
Yeah, I mean, we played it's a party game, and so I don't spend a lot of time with lots of people. Too, yeah. And so that was one that I've gotten expansions for because that enhanced an experience of a game that maybe is not an 8, 9, or 10, but did enhance the opportunity to play at the time. So
there's always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
I guess I don't want people thinking to dive into the FOMO. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the base game first.
Yes, 100%.
Enjoy the base game first.
Which is not the norm when it comes to Kickstarter anymore these days.
Or anything.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to be trying to market something to you. Yeah. Speaking of marketing, would you like to click subscribe if you made it this far?
Yeah. If you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up and comment down below what your thoughts on expansions are.
What practical joke should I pull on Toph next? Please comment down below. I'll make it happen.
And there's our personalities in a nutshell. Friends, thank you for joining us for this little discussion of our thoughts on expansions.
And thank you for giving us this recommendation. We'll try to do a few more of these because they're just fun. We sit here and talk when we argue. It's all good.
It is what it is.
Remember, no matter how you play, whether it's solo, with family, or friends.
Or expansions. Enjoy whatever games you're bringing to
Can
the
I
table.
get an expansion friend? Oh, Ashby. Ashby!
That's a replacement.
There'll be a space.
Have a good night, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.